Right, folks. Okay, we'll do the usual. First things first. Somebody let me know uh, if you can hear me, and uh, and then we'll get to work. I have no idea what this is going to be really. I just started messing with Protracker again, and Protracker was I had Soundtracker first. Oh, cool. Thank you, Waveform. Is that Adrian? Yeah, thanks, dude. You can hear me. Yeah, so Protracker was an old Amiga tracker format that I used back in the days. Back then, this is sort of how I started music really. And before that, I was using Soundtracker. I think Soundtracker was a commercial software or something like that. I was using that, and I moved on to Protracker and then to Octamed. But I do have a fondness for Protracker. It uses the same sort of interface as a Soundtracker. Let me load this up actually. You've seen enough of my face. There you go. And recently I've just messing with it, and I was just thinking about doing more chiptunes, essentially. Although the Amiga didn't do chiptunes, this is mostly sampling. But you'll see what I mean. You can actually replicate chiptunes by just sampling some stuff. And I was just recently messing with it. This is going to be a very quiet stream. Just me mostly making awful noises with this thing, and see what we get at the end. Okay, so this is Protracker here. The first thing to do is, right now it's just not making any sound. If we look at our sample, there's nothing there. We can't really edit anything or anything like that. So has anyone used Protracker before actually? Anybody here just making chiptunes? Usually what people use nowadays, it's a lot of FamiTracker and OpenMPT or MTP. Can't remember what. MTP? Can't remember. But that's what a lot of people use nowadays. It's that software. Or FamiTracker. It seems chiptune now is just mostly either NES stuff or C64. Raido, how are you doing, dude? Is it apple juice in the glass? No, that's it's a generous glass of whiskey. It's one of those round glasses. It's really cool because it doesn't topple over. You can't knock this down. It'll roll, and that's what I use on boats. It'll roll and just stay in place. It looks unstable, but it's actually super stable. Cheers. So I got got my cameras, I got my Protracker, I got my cat. So yeah, ready to go. So I'm using Restream IO, which is just a multi-stream. So this thing is actually on the YouTube channel right now, live, and it's also on Twitch, streaming at the same time. So hopefully that'll work. I haven't double checked, but it looks like it's everything's all right. Anyway, let's load up some samples. So I'm gonna want some just square stuff. Let's get some drums first. Let's get some drums. Load samples. Oh yeah, no, I was in the right spot. What is this? No. The problem with Protracker is the samples will loop over again and again. I'm looking for a kick. It's a bit too heavy. Kick 2. Is that all I got? Yeah, this will do. So I'm using the keyboard here. You can use the keyboard as a sort of proper piano keyboard type of stuff. Yeah, that's good enough. What is it? Kick 2. Okay. Yeah, has loaded it. It's not the most user-friendly interface. It's gonna take me a while to get used to it again. I used to know it by heart. Anyway, so there's a lot of redundant commands, and you can't just copy and paste in this thing either. I'm looking for a snare. That's lo-fi, but it's probably better, but this is kind of heavy. I just have a limited right now sample base, so I'm just going to use these. There's a lot more stuff, but I just want to use a limited pool. Let's see what we get. No, so I'm looking for a snare. That's I think this will do. And load sample, exit, and then next sample, and we go back to this gap. So I'm gonna look here for, well, we want to, I have all these square stuff. They're all slightly different. Yeah, I'm gonna use that one. Is that the same? Okay, I'm going to use this one as a base, and yeah, we'll just use that as a base. Yeah, good enough. Yeah, you really need to click everywhere. Claudio, yeah, you used it in early 2000. Yeah, man, I used Protracker way back then. Many years ago, and when I started the channel, I used a lot of let me load this. I used a lot of Soundtracker and then Protracker and Octamed, as was saying earlier on, and I haven't used it since, but I had a ton of modules that I wrote, and a lot of them got corrupted, but I managed to salvage a few. But when I started the channel, I published a few of these, and then I took them down because I just wasn't happy with them. Even though I sort of remastered them with OpenMPT, but wasn't quite happy with them, so I took them down again. I'll probably redo something. Sorry, my phone is beeping here, yeah, so I kind of went back from scratch and started remastering a lot of this stuff with Acid Pro now. So a lot of the, if you go on the channel and see the EM stuff that I did and the synth stuff, that's all sort of a remaster of old Octamed modules that I did back in the 90s now. Richard Belmont, how am I? I'm good, thank you. What system am I on? Just on, yeah, okay. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I see who you are. Yeah, I'm just using a PC. It's the PC version, the 64-bit PC version of Octamed. So it's not even emulation or captured from an actual Amiga. It's the PC version, which is, honestly, it'll save me a lot of hassle, and then I can export these as WAVs straight onto the PC and that kind of stuff. It makes more sense for production. My goal is actually to use this as actual proper tunes, so maybe remaster them afterwards. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here, to be honest. Okay, I need to focus here. Nobody from nowhere, you got a lot of works for another 2 hours. No worries, dude. And thanks for stopping by. Okay, edit, up, disc up, mod wave, edit, where is my, okay, exit, there you go. So this is the editing tracking here. So essentially, the way you write your music on this is you just write the ABC notation. That kind of stuff. Pressing the space bar will actually stop. I'm not sure of the shortcuts. Pressing the space bar, you see the arrow will come blue here. It means you're in edit mode now. Press down. It'll also stop the sound, but I'm not sure if there's a way to stop the sound. Is there a shortcut for stop? If anybody knows that, actually. Mind you, I could have a look at the manual. There you go. So you just type in your ABC notation. Actually, it's just 3 octaves. So there you go. And that's it. And then you got So the numbers here is the C3 here. That's the note, and the 3 is the octave. So if I edit here, that's... And then if I go lower octave yet. It's going to be a lot of that. You'll have to excuse me, but yeah, and if I play... There you go. So this is the octaves. This is... What is it? It's the instrument number. These first two numbers are the instrument numbers. You see the sample number here. So if I go back to 2 or 1 here, I can actually insert the... the sample 1 is the kick. There you go. So if I enter the kick, you see the number here, and then the last 3 number is the effects. And the effects, you can have a slide down, slide up, vibrato, all that kind of stuff, kind of stopping, volume, all these sort of effects, just standard effects that will change the note. There's not so much effect, like it's not like phase or flange or reverb or that kind of stuff, but it's just simple vibrato stuff, tune up, tune down, things like that. And that's essentially all there is to chiptunes. You know, it's just those 4 tracks, those 3 octaves in this case, and a few effects. So right now I'm just concerned with maybe getting a proper tempo. Actually, speaking of effects, the one I liked, I remember now, is the F, and F is the shortcut effect for tempo. So if you look here, if I press play, nothing happens. F0 will not play anything. F1 will play it super fast. I'll go back. F2, no. Come on, F2. It's going to be a lot of that. No. 3, so 4 is actually kind of nice speed. You could actually increase the tempo as well, but I like having... This is sort of the format I'm used to, and playing at that speed, that tempo. And then here we're just going to get a 4 reference, just a kick. So it'll act as a click track for now. So we're just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. If you look here, there is the note number, and this is one pattern. This is what's called a pattern, up to 63, and it starts at 0, so it's 64 notes per pattern. You'll find that it's so many bars and that kind of stuff, and you can just add more patterns and that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to do a click track. So if you look at 64, obviously the middle is 32, and the middle of that is 16, and middle of that is 8. You know, so this is your and in between it's 4. So every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have a kick. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is just going to be my click track as a reference. Unfortunately, there's no copy and paste, so I can't just left click and copy. A lot of it has to be manual. You can actually copy entire tracks. I think is it Control F4, something like that, but I still have to edit the full track first. I'm just going to go in the comments here for a minute. Robocop. It sounds like a techno Protracker that's using NES Rygar. I'm not sure, but that's a copy of Med 3.2 or Octamed from the Amiga. It's Protracker, but Octamed and Med is what I used at the end of my lifetime with the Amiga. John Dillon, just press record, hit the keys in time, and tidy up afterwards. That's not what I do with Protracker, but yeah, it's an option. You can actually just press record here, and kind of play on the keyboard, but it's just not what it's designed for. I'd much rather use one of those, and I'm not set up like that here. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to edit manually. And it's sort of the point of Protracker and a tracker in general. It offers you that sort of micro control, you know. Tim Jagodzinski, you'll have to excuse the pronunciation. I'm just not familiar with these names, but thank you first. Is this Protracker like on the Amiga? It is, yeah. It's the PC version. A PC version. It is. Let me just load this up. Exit. This Protracker 2.3 clone. Version 1.4. It's actually fairly recent version that's been updated, and it's exactly the same, works the same way. It's just as clumsy and as awkward to use. So there you go. I've just got my my beat here. What have I done? Oh, I pressed the wrong octave. Yeah, there you go. So it's going to act as a click track, as a reference for the notes. Then we said we want to do some chiptune. I could do some just sampling stuff, but I just want to use some kind of square waves and just do some chiptune-y type of stuff. We're going to go in a sort of a C pattern, C major pattern, and what's the chord? C, what is C, G, A, F, resolving F or something like that. So let's just try this. No, what I'm doing here. Yeah, there you go. Just for reference, A. There you go. As you can hear, it doesn't sound great. So it's just to establish just a reference pattern, and we're just going to use alternating octaves. Sorry, my voice is gone already, man. Just going to read the comments here for a minute. John Dillon, how to create a melody? I mean, your own melody, not a cover from other NES games. Miki Jowie, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Also in French as well. Yeah, happy to see. I'm doing lives every now and again, but you can't say. But thanks for stopping by. Thank you. Claudio, the UI is very similar, but one of the older version, latest version, where you... Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'm just going to read every odd comment. This is not a Q&A, so maybe I should refrain from reading every comment unless it's specifically addressed to me. But enjoy your conversation, guys. As you can see, I have a setup of cameras as well, and I have one here just in case as well. I need to, show my face a bit more. How are you, Kat? Okay. So we're just going to use octaves. There's a very, very common pattern in chiptunes, which is something like that. So we're just going to use that. It's going to be a very, very derivative type of stuff. And then I think we need to go... Does it hit on this 16? I'm just going through the comments here. It sounds like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yeah. The process of making a chiptune, if you will, is not extremely glamorous. at all. It's just going to sound like shite for a little while, and then it's going to sound better. And then we need something to resolve in. It'll be I don't want to use just straight Fs. Let me think. No. It's kind of hard without. I don't want to overload your ears. El Spaghetto, this is going to be reassuring to hear, Ollie. Are you saying I suck? I've always found myself discouraged by the way everything sounds to begin with. Yes, it will always sound terrible. Trust me, it will always sound terrible. When you start, it just... Let's see this. Not happy with that ending, but you get the idea. So, Robocop, Sir Ollie, where's your cover of 1943 Battle of Midway? It's gone in your list. No, it's on the channel. If you go on the upload section, you'll find it. Let me double check. But no, it's still there. Oh, I can see it. Yeah. It's just way down. Like it's 6 months old now at this stage already, but it's still there. Okay, let me just focus on this for a minute. So as you can hear now, the because this sample loops. Oops. It doesn't sound very expressive at all. So what we need to do is just add some small amount of expression, or maybe just dampen the note a tiny bit. So for this in Protracker, we can use the A effect, which is what is it? A function. Let me just see if I have a manual in the. I don't think I can show it here. I didn't set up my stream for that. Bear with me, folks. This is very experimental. I've never actually shared my process or shared anything like that. So, can I share this just for a minute? Let me just see if I can do this. Video capture. Nope. Oh, there you go. Okay. Notepad. There's nobody where. No, I can't share this for some reason. Anyway, so the A function. So it's the functions, the effects. Essentially, you got the one is the pitch slide thing. I'm just opening the manual from Protracker. It's just a refresher for me as well. One is, let's edit, is the pitch slide up. 2 is the pitch slide down, and then the 2 numbers afterwards define the value of the slides. The 3 is tone portamento. Not sure what that is, to be honest. 4 is the vibrato. I want to use that at some point. 5 is a combination of tone portamento and volume slide. And 6 is the same thing, but vibrato and volume slide. 7 is tremolo, like the sort of tremolo you'd hear on a guitar, you know. 8 is actually not used. 9 is sample offset, so you can actually start a sample at a certain offset or finish at a certain offset. It's good if you want to just use only a portion of a sample. A is the volume slide, up or down. B actually jumps to a position in the track. C is to set the volume of a specific. Is it an instrument or the whole track? I'm not sure. D is a pattern break, so it'll stop the pattern and jump to the next one. It's cool if you want to do just breaks that have an extra beat or anything like that. And the E then is a whole can of worm, because it's just different effects. So if you have enter E and 1, 2, you can have fine pitches, things like that. It's just for fine tuning some of the effects. Like you can have note delays and re-triggering the notes as well. Some people like to use those. I never really successfully mastered that art. F, as we saw, was the speed. So if I have that, if I set that to 1, yeah, not very helpful. If I set that to 5, it's going to be much slower. That's probably the sort of bass one. I like to have it at 125, typically. That's where I start and then establish that I need something smaller, slower or faster. El Spaghetto, portamento slide to the next note. I believe you could be very right here. Mic key, squiggly, 47, 37 fake chords. Yes, so there'll be fake chords, obviously, those arpeggiated chords. 47, 37, I'll have to explain all that as well. It's going to be interesting. Adrian, did any of the trackers make use of FM synthesis from the Polish chip? So I don't believe so. Not the standard trackers anyway. I know some FM modulation was possible if you listen to stuff like Hybris. Is it a Hybris? Hybris by what was the name of the composer? Martin something. Paul van der Valk, and I think, and he used FM modulation in his tunes. I believe this was all done by programmatically, not by just samples. I could be wrong, but I think that's the way it is. But the trackers didn't offer that, as far as I know. You can go around that issue though by having just incremental. I'll probably do that afterwards, because I do have some square waves that have different filters on them, so you can just load a few samples. And because they're tiny samples, if you look at the sampler here, what we have is just a few milliseconds of square waves, and because it loops, we have a square wave. That's the way it's done. If I reduce the loop here, so that's the way you go around the fact that, you know, technically it's not entirely chiptune, it's sample based, and you're simulating a chiptune here. Let me reload this this thing, because I messed it up here. There you go. Load sample. Where's the exit? I always get confused in the where's the exit? You're probably scratching your heads here. Yeah, there you go. The interface is so awkward, because if you go here, the exit is here. If you go to disk up, exit is here. If you go to sampler, exit button is here. So everything is in different place. It's not the most intuitive intuitive interface, but once you get used to it, it's fine. It's fine. I haven't used that in years. Is this stream working for you guys? I'm not sure. I'm hoping it is, but there you go. So anyway, so we got this this pattern. I'm just gonna dampen some of the notes here. So it'll just lower the volume and just offer a bit more expression. So I'm gonna use A function and F. You'll see what it does in a second. And C, I don't want to dampen it too much. So it's all in hexadecimal. So it goes from 0, well, 1, 0 is nothing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then because it's hexadecimal, A, B, C, D, E, and the last value is F, which is 16, technically 15. Well, no, 15, technically 16. So I'm just dampening here to the max, and here just leaving a tiny bit, so the next few notes will still ring a tiny bit. So I'm just going to do this here. As you can see, it's a lot of just fiddling and messing. So straight away we've got a bit more expression happening. And honestly, the easiest thing is to just go and do all A's. So AF will not turn it off completely, but lower. So this is why I do 2 AFs, because the last one will literally just switch it off pretty much altogether. I don't want the notes to last. I just want a kind of punchy bass. Is that handing working for me? Oops, did I just shoot the camera? Yeah, I think it's okay, isn't it? Let's dampen this a tiny bit as well. So okay, and then I'll go back and edit the value. So here we're just going to use C, something like that. I can change it afterwards. And on those long ones, and I remember there was nothing easy or fast about this. Okay, let's continue. Okay. As you can see here, that note lasts a bit longer, because I should do the opposite here, in fact. That's what I've been doing so far. Because I sort of like that sound. It gives that sort of bouncy feel to the... Okay, we got that kick here, and one cool thing with that pattern is it leaves open, you see that gap here, it actually leaves open every second beat, opens a gap for something else. And what we can do here is add the snare sound. So instead of putting the snare sound, we're going to keep the kick here for now. This is just a click track for now. and we're going to put the snare on this area here. So is that the snare? Yeah. So obviously we need to delete this now, otherwise it'll dampen our snare. But what's interesting is now we're going to have the kick and the snare, which is really going to add that sort of drive to the beat. It's a trick they do in EDM a lot. Like they have a snare, but they keep the kick with the snare when it comes in, and it just it adds that sort of punch to the snare as well. Now, whether we're going to keep it in the final mix or not, we might need that space here. But for now, I'm just going to fill the tracks as much, as I can. And as you can see again, it's a tedious process. Adrian says it's like you're changing the ADSR envelope, but with a sample. I'm afraid you've lost me there, because I'm not very good with the terminology of all that kind of stuff. All I know is sounds. So ADSR, I'm not sure what that is, but I trust you. I know you like your synths. But so if we listen to this now, I've added the snare, just exactly every 2 kicks, and it's going to sound like there's a proper snare. We got one sample that's too low. What did I use? Here, I used a C instead of a D. If I don't correct it, it's gonna drive me nuts. It's good enough. But you can see already that's a typical kind of loader cracker type of music, it has that sort of very driven and major progression, and that's all it is, major progression. Okay, so do I need hi-hats? It could be cool to have. Just let's see if I have a sample for hi-hats. Actually, let me just change the sample here. Disc up. That's all I got, really. Boom. We'll load this just to... there's not that much difference between here where I've removed the kick and when I leave the kick, if you listen to it. Yeah, it's not that much difference, so I can pretty safe to actually remove the kick when the snare comes in, because it's actually over driving it, and we'll be able to use that space for something else. Vampire MSX A500 is actually, yes, dude, how are you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Yes, that's, well, it's not technically running a 500. I'm using the PC version of Protracker, but yeah, for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing. Attacks, decay, sustain, release. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's funny because I use all these synth stuff, and but I don't know the terminology. But yeah, essentially what the A does, it just it you affect the decay and sustain. The attack is just driven by the quality of the sample itself. You can modify it with the sample offset, but essentially it just offsets the sample itself where the sample actually starts. So you can modify the attack in a sense that way, but not so much natively. However, the decay and the sustain, you can just loop it indifferently, and the decay, you use the A just to affect it. The release, I'm not sure the release is, you can't really modify the release in that sense on a tracker. And it's just not what a tracker is for, really. But yeah, you can do some element of that. But keep in mind, all that synth stuff came from tracker technology and mixing the MIDI and tracker tech, it sounds like the good old 500 must be the samples. Yeah, these are definitely standard Amiga samples. Okay, what next? Should we just move on to the next track, or just add a chord progression? What do you think, guys? Change the bass line, maybe move into the sort of relative minor. So yeah, here. Going to the A minor as a start. Or maybe just fill this up first. Add some chords. So there you go, fake chords. Who was it that mentioned the fake chords? Mike Key. Yeah, let's move into the fake chords. I'm just gonna check the stream is okay here. So those arpeggiated chords, these came from the good old days of C64 is famous for this thing, but yeah, any chiptune, that's what they had to use. Even the NES had to use those. Some tracks would use those. And just reading the chat. Vampire MSX, it's more the way to play the sounds. The tracker just plays a PCM sound when you tell it to do. I'm sure Vampire knows that. If you do play in a tracker way, you immediately feel the Amiga way to do music. Yeah, but there's loads of trackers. Like Fami Tracker seems to be the popular one. And what was it? On the C64, I missed all that time of the C64 trackers. I was playing a lot of music. I was making it actually with a small basic editor that I did on the MSX. Just making little melody lines. I could do two tracks. Third track was problematic because of a big bug in my basic code. But mind you, I was 9 or 10. But that's just how I taught myself to do music. And it was sort of ABC notation tracker in a way. Except in this case I was triggering the what was it, the Yamaha 310 or 7 8 9 10, yeah, Yamaha YM37 and then dash 8 9 10. That's what's in the MSX. I think it's in the Amstrad as well, the CPCs, and I think it's in the Atari ST, I think, and most arcade machines at that time. Claudio, ADSR is not really a thing on trackers, something for FM sound chip like Sid and Yamaha. Yeah, that's what Adrian was saying. It's just it's like I'm changing some of it, but with a sample. In a way, it's just it's not so much ADSR. It's just I'm dampening the sound. Literally, just if you could see the sound line, I'm just lowering slowly the sound line, like more or less faster or slower. So F is quite fast. 1 2 would be quite slow. Using that A function. Anyway, let's do some chords. I have a hi-hat. I'm gonna need more squares, so I have a square sample here. Yeah, let's load that. So if I do that, that sample loops as well, as far as I know. Yeah. Is it the same stuff? It's pretty much the same thing. Where's the exit on this one? Oh god, I keep getting stuck in here. Exit there. Some of you are probably just, you know, you're tearing your hair, just going, what is he doing? Like, he's so slow and that kind of stuff. I'm actually still trying to remember where everything was. I think I'm doing okay, to be honest, because I haven't used this thing in 25 years or something like that. So the fact that I still remember some of it is quite interesting. It's like it's not second nature, but it's still there to some extent. So anyway, so I want some chords, and the chord function, what is it? It just, is it the 0? Yeah, it's the 0. 0 is not, it is, well, if you leave 0 0, it does nothing. But it's the arpeggio function, and that's what these chords are. So they're not really chords. The way to simulate chords on trackers, I'm going to switch off this first. So this is your note here, and you can simulate chords by adding on those. Leave the first 0 here as 0. This is your arpeggio effect. And then adding a value here, so either 1, 2, 3, etc., up to F and up to F here as well. And what this does, it plays a second note really fast after the first one. So if I put something here, add a 1, it's going to play a semitone just higher than the note I enter. So it's going to play a C and a C sharp really fast. It's going to do it once, and if I leave it at like that, it's going to stop doing it. So I'm just going to leave loads of ones here. So that's what it does. It's like a tapping on the guitar, just adds really, really fast. If I add 2, it's going to add a full note. I'm sorry. It's going to be a load of that as I'm getting confused with between edit and... So this adds a full tone, full note. So what a chord is essentially a series of 3 notes. If you have 2 notes, essentially you have a harmony. If you have 3 notes, you have a chord. That's what a chord is. It's a tritone in a way. So let me grab an instrument and see if I can just maybe explain this a bit better, because I'm probably confusing. If you're not technically, or if you're not I was going to say trained musician, not that I am either, but if you haven't had kind of instrument experience or piano experience or anything like that, you're probably still confused as to what a chord is. Just give me a second. This is sort of turning into a tutorial, and it's not what I intended this to be, but maybe for the first stream, if I do more of these, it could be interesting. So I'm just going to take the mandolin here and just to show you. So what note have I got? It's a C, but it's a C in the tracker. It might not actually be a C. D. That's a C. Yeah, well, this is not a C. No, actually, what was I saying? Actually, no, that's a C. Okay, C, we got a C. And here I said it's playing a semitone higher, so, sorry, full tone higher. This is what this is, just played really fast. And it doesn't sound right. Anyway, what a chord is, it's 3 notes, at least 3 notes together. So major chord would be the first note and then the third, which is 4 semitones up. Which is essentially fifth, but yeah, it's your third, major third, and then your major fifth. So this is a major chord, and this is a minor chord. So minor chord would be, major chord is tonic, major third, and fifth. Minor chord would be tonic, minor third, and the fifth. So the only difference is that semitone. Major, minor. So in order to know what we need to do here to get a major chord, we're going to take our tonic and then we're going to count. This is our major third. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 semitones up. I know this already, but I just thought I'd show you the process or the thinking behind it. And for our fifth, so this is fourth. We're looking for this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, major third. 5, 6, 7. So it's 7. And now we have our major chord. And there you go. It's kind of as simple as that. And from there you can do all the, sustained and seventh and all that kind of stuff. You've got 3 notes though to work with. So technically you can do those more advanced chords. You're stuck to 3 notes, but it offers a certain liberty of expressions. If we wanted to do, I'm just going to put this aside now. If we wanted to do a minor chord, essentially we could do 3 here, because it's a semitone. 4 is the major third, I know it's confusing, and 3 semitones is the minor third. So if we did this, we'd have minor chord. I'm going to put them side by side, major and minor. But you can hear the difference. I've probably lost most of you know this already, but I have to keep in mind that a lot of people don't necessarily know this. They just have an interest in music, a passing interest, and just like the end result, but the process of making music might not interest them necessarily, or they mightn't have the time to learn it or learn it that way. But anyway, this is our chords, fake chords. This is what we're doing. We're just adding. Here we're on a major key, the C all the way, whatever. I'm not going to do actually all of it. What am I doing? I'm just going to find a pattern. We're probably going to go for one of those kind of on the beat reggae type of stuff. So let me just delete all this, and then we'll do our chords afterwards. So and so I want a. What is that sound initially? Wow. Huh. That's a weird artifact. And that shouldn't be here because I don't see anything here. Okay. So we're going to use 47, which is our major chord. Who was it that talked about 47, 37? It was my key. There you go. And that's what he was referring to earlier on. 47 is major, 37 is minor. And this is what we're seeing. Oh, I got some USB stuff here going on. No, I think we're good. Are you still with me, folks? So here we got our tell you what, actually, I'm not gonna push it all the way through. I'm gonna dampen it again. So we're gonna use A 0 and gonna kill it, not as much, but and then 47. I wish it wouldn't just go to a next line like that. I don't think there's a way to do to stop that, but and then I'm gonna kill it, but not completely. I want to have a tiny bit of a just sustain going and continue with the arpeggio. This is what they are. They're not technically chords. They are arpeggios. And then will I kill it here before it goes to the next one? I suppose to provide a little bit of tone control. And kill it, and no, 47, sorry. No, I'm gonna keep going for an extra note and then dampen it. How much should I dampen it? Maybe another like that. What did I use here? Because I'm gonna use the same sort of pattern. So 7 7 A. What was it I used here? A here. That's an artifact coming from my PC. It's one of those hotkey thing going on. Let me see if I have yeah, okay. Sticky keys, turn on sticky keys. I don't need that, sorry, that's my PC just acting up. It doesn't do it when I press play here, but it does it when I press my key, and I'm not sure how to switch it off. Turn off. Okay, apply. Hopefully. Yeah, there you go. It's working now. Is this making sense, guys? I feel I'm just talking to myself here. It's funny because I'm used to doing these live Q&A and just giving everybody feedback, but here I have to focus on the track itself. I'm just going to go through the comments again. Yeah. It's Vampire and Claudio talking. Vampire has to go. Gotta run. Good luck. Am I dropping later? But I'm going to be on the road. Fair enough. Yeah, you're in the US, dude. I get it. Where's everybody tuning from? Adrian, thanks. I'm glad you're here because I know you're very interested in all this. So it's cool. I'd love to see you do more stuff. I know you have a good setup and good equipment. And you have started this Facebook page as well a while back. What's it called again? I know you invited me to it. Okay, one thing we can do just to add a bit of just richness is to change so the fourth here is going to give us our major third. So it's what's going to establish that it's a major chord. The second note we use in there could be different. It could be a 9 for 2 semitones higher, which is going to give us that 7th. So we're just going to see if that you can hear it. It's just subtle, but it just adds a bit of variety. And if we add it here as well. No, I like it. I like it as a seventh, as a fifth. Sorry. Adrian Smith music. I thought there was something more, more evocative, but that's actually as explicit as it needs to be. Yeah, fair enough. But I know you've posted some stuff that was cool. You've got. I'm jealous of your equipment, dude. Although it's funny, the synth stuff. Like, there's two ways to go about it. Either you could go full actual synth. What was that? Actual full synth and just do everything live, or you could go, which is what I do, which is using VSTs, and I very much like the control this gives you. But I get it, man. I get it. It's something that, playing with buttons and knobs and switches and everything, and samplers and yeah. I just don't have the it's another rabbit hole for me to get into, and I don't quite have the time. But VSTs I do love. So okay, so we got our first chord here, and then what's the next note? We're gonna enable everything else. Actually, that's seventh or ninth, but that seventh doesn't sit right with me. It probably needs to be much lower as well, volume wise. It's not that nice. I'm gonna kill it here. Give it an F here. Yeah. And then volume wise, I'm gonna lower this a tiny bit. Yeah, it's less aggressive. It'll make more sense when I do the second chord. See, this is a great thing about notes. They only make sense in relation to each other. So we need a second chord. A second chord here. Now, it's very tempting to make it here with this G. So it'll be tempting to have this, sorry. To have this G, but I'm gonna, instead of going down like the bass is, I'm gonna go up with the chords. Yeah. Literally just go up the scale like that, and we're gonna use the same pattern. Come on. It's the problem with those looping samples is I need to kill them straight away, otherwise it'll drive everybody crazy. Is that what I want? Something like that. 1, 2, 2. Where's my beat? Where should it be? Where's my kick? Here it is. That early? Yeah. Okay. So now we are using I think we should still be on major chord. So we're going to use actually no, let me just think. We should be actually on a G, semitones. Just going to need my my trusty mandolin. So 159. We should be okay. This is an inverted chord, so the root is going up, but actually what I'm playing is a G chord, but it's inverted because the root is a D. It's I should refer you to music theory in this case, but this it should sound the same as, well, not the same, but should be the same chord as this. It's gonna sound different, but it should be the same chord as this. Let me just check. No, thank you. Yeah, it's the same chord, but there's an inversion. So the instead of being a root in G, the root is the fourth of from the G. It's just chord theory. Just look into it. It's not conspiracy theory, but it's that's the way it works. So it sounds like I'm going up in the chords. I'm actually just following the bass line, but I'm doing inversions, and the bass is going up. That's. And it just adds a bit of variety. Right now I'm just going to fill this up with 9, 5, 5, 5, 9. Yeah, okay. Now the E, I'm actually going into the minor. That shouldn't make a difference. It should be A, because A is the relative minor to the C. So 5, actually 5. Treat that as a major. Yeah, it should be all major E, but actually gonna sound like a minor G. Hopefully, I'm not super really good with music theory. Okay, that's what I wanted. So yeah, there's more than obviously 47, 37, and okay, let's tidy this. You can see already that that's just one frame of music. It just it's taking that long. Oh, another thing that really annoys me is the numpad isn't working on this. Nothing's happening on the numpad. Actually, the numpad changes. I discovered something. The numpad changes the samples, which is handy, except it doesn't change any of the ones I need. Oh, there you go. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. I would have liked the numpad to work as just normal. The normal numbers, and maybe the number rows here to work as the sample number or something like that. But that's just the way it is. You have to make do with it. Do I want that to end quickly? Maybe just have 2 notes of that and then a quick. What's same as before, really? Quick drop and kill it here before the next note. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. Very presumptuous of me, but Actually, AA works well. Interesting thing is all these empty gaps here, we're probably going to fill them with something else just to add that little bit of expression. Oh, we need to resolve that chord progression as well. I need to delete. Come on. Edit. Come on. Work with me. No. Let this run for a minute. I know. Yeah, there you go. CB. Okay, so again, here we need some chords. We're just gonna go do 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 do. So it's probably major, minor, major, minor. Yeah. Major. Well, we have a cat outside our window. Look at that. Folks, say hello to Whoopsie. Hey, Whoops. You know where the cat flap is? Anyway, okay, let's go back to we said major, minor. It's actually major. So we're looking at major, minor, major, minor. Don't ask me the theory about this or behind this. I just kind of know it, but I don't know that much about music theory in general. I just know some from just doing it for. The other problem, the keys are very sensitive in this guy. You can probably... Can you hear the cat? She's actually just crying outside. You know where the cat flap is? I can't open this window. You know that well. I never did. Anyway. Musical cat. Can you actually hear her through the mic? I'd be surprised if you do. But anyway, what was I doing? That's a C. It should be major. I think we're just going to double check and then we'll do the note dampening afterwards. That's it, yeah. Okay. Whew. Okay. No, you can't hear. Fair enough. I haven't checked the chat in a minute, but let me just go back. Yes, hey, Protracker. Roger Wilco, 98. Now there's something I haven't seen in almost 30 years. Yeah, I was saying I haven't used this in 25 years. So, yes, indeed. Uh, Sup? Oh, how do you? Xyce? Xyce? Not sure. Sup, dude. Um, yeah, a very prolific Amiga mod artist indeed. Um, yeah, it's great. There's still some really, really cool mod artists around. It's great to see. Um, Mikey, you could probably do weird things because in Hex as well. Never tried that. Xyce, okay. How did you find out about the live stream? Blah blah blah. So it popped in my recommendation. Wow, there you go. Recommendations. It works. Yeah, as I see, mod stuff, Amiga mod is what I used to do. Is how I started music, but I haven't used this in, I was saying, 25 years, and I'm just doing some very, very derivative stuff here. And just showing people, about those arpeggio chords and bass and drums and that kind of stuff. Just very simple stuff. We haven't done a melody yet, but yeah, it's fun to see the progress of others making mods. How does that compare to your own progress? I was saying earlier on, there's nothing simple and easy about it, and I think that's what mod makers would agree on. It's never easy. People talk about the blank page when you start a new track, and indeed, it's always a blank page. It's just yeah, there's nothing simple. Mike's fine. Surrounded by cats, good time. Roger Wilco. Yeah, I have a cat here and I have a cat outside the window. This is Suki, and Whoopsie is over there, but she's gone now. Lick, how are you doing, Lick? How are you doing? Lick's another Patreon. Nice to see you here. We started with chords or melody most of the times. Yeah, that's, if I do compose in a modern DAW, I'll start with a melody, always, because that's what's in my head. If I, in this case, for a mod and to show people, I just started with the bass line. Because I'm not trying to compose something, I'm just trying to show the process and do something like that that's super derivative. But it's melody is usually the better way to start composing, of course. I always had problems actually starting with a melody in a tracker. I always had to have at least a click track and maybe a small chord progression or a small bass progression. And then anchor a melody around it. Somehow it's not so much of a problem with the modern DAW. I can just pick the mandolin, which is interesting because this was never my main instrument. My main instrument is the guitar and the flute, and somehow since I started the kind of acoustic banjo mandolin channel, this has become my main composing instrument because it's so small. It's handy. You can pick it up and just leave it down, and you can do chords and melodies. It's been super handy. But usually that's what I'd write something with the melody and then compose the rest around it. Cool stuff. Anyway, let's continue here. So we're looking for the and chords. I just want to dampen those chords with heavy A's. And if you want to get into this this kind of stuff, my recommendation is to just download a tracker and download 4 or 5 tracks, and look how they did it. Just look how they did the effects. Look how they implemented the composition, how they arranged the tracks, how they incorporated one track into another, like we did earlier on with the snare that's actually in the bass line. So just look how they did it, and maybe take one section, take the bass section, just copy that and try to compose over it using the same techniques, something like that. It's a good way to learn, and I don't think there's a bad way to learn, but it's one way to do it, and it'll save you a lot of time and hassle. Just take one portion that works, that is solid, a bass line, a drum pattern or something like that, just compose over it. that's kind of chirpy enough. We're just going to use just high notes. See, we've all this empty space now we can fill, and we don't have to, but I want to. I just want to show you how you can optimize all the space as well in a track. So here, and that's the way we had to do it back then. Just optimize as much as we could. So use all the empty space as you can. You can do that with echo effects. We'll see afterwards if I have time and if you're still around. But here I'm just going to use. Yeah, we're just going to use just the same sample. Actually, no, we're going to use a different sample. What have I got here? It was what was it? Was it square 5? Square 1. We're going to use square 2. I still get confused with the keys here. It's been so long. Just checking the chat. Saying chords and then whistling works a lot of times. Yeah, actually, that's a very good point. Whistling, I do that myself. I've done that in a few covers, not a lot. I don't know if you're familiar with the channel, but yeah, I do that whenever I feel one of the cover needs probably something. I've done that recently with the Mario covers. I've done that with with Scumbar from Monkey Island, where even though it's a really cool tune, I just felt it was so the Scumbar was repetitive enough. It didn't warrant a full length cover. But what I did for I did a small solo on it on the flute, and what I did is instead of just taking the instrument, I actually just played the whole track along and just kind of hummed and whistled something that felt natural. I recorded that and I overdubbed it then afterwards on the flute. And then I do that a lot. I did that recently with the Super Mario Bros. 3 Super Mario Bros. 3 cover. Was the Overworld, and actually I have a few more coming soon. But where you just did a little improvisation on the guitar. But what I did is I just hummed it and just overdubbed the guitar on top of the humming. But I'm recording the humming, and obviously that's not available for anyone to hear. But that's the way I did it. It works. It's really a really practical way to do things. What was I doing here? Oh yeah, I wanted another instrument. So you can put more than one instrument in a track, as we've seen here. If you remember the bass line. As simple as chiptune gets, really. I haven't done. We still have a lot of space here. We don't necessarily need the hi-hats either, so we might edit that out or edit some of them afterwards. I'd like to have maybe a bit of echo on the main melody. We're going to keep this track from the main melody and maybe add a bit of echo. So that's the way they would have done it back in the days. Just have the extra space to add a bit of echo. To do something here. So here I just want something just to flesh out the chord progression a tiny bit. Yeah, maybe just high notes. What have I done? I'm just getting confused in the keys here. Let me go back. There's something wrong here. Yeah, that should be way down here. Sorry about that. Obviously, I deleted a line. I'm not sure how I did that. Okay. Let me just correct this. I apologize for all the keyboard noises as well. Don't know if you can hear those. Barata Bros, hello, say hello for people in Brazil. Share you, man, that screen takes me back indeed. It takes all of us back. Okay, so we're looking for yeah. Come on, work with me. As you can see, it's a lot of manual editing and it's going over what you've done previously and that kind of stuff. How does that sit with everything? Oh, what's after happening here? Everything's shifted by... Okay, is there an insert or a delete or something? I'm pressing something that I shouldn't be pressing, clearly, because everything is shifted by one here. Let me just check the manual. Somebody knows, by the way, let me know, because if I don't find out, this is gonna drive me nuts. Yeah, see, everything here is shifted by one. That's why it sounds off. It shouldn't be sounding like that. Okay, let me just correct this first. Manual, where are you, manual? There it is, insert. Okay, shift return, shift backspace. Okay, it's good to know. Shift Shift. Okay, Shift backspace. Yeah, that works. Okay, fixed. Okay, obviously, actually, what we can do here is use the volume function. So is F the full volume? Have we lost the camera again? Let me just check the C set volume. And is there any? No. Okay, okay, FF is obviously everything. Max 0F. We'll just try 2 0. 40 is full volume. Thank you, Mike. Okay, we're just looking for something just subtle-ish. Yeah, that's a bit louder. 2, 12. Yeah, there you go. What am I doing here? We'll try this. Okay, I'm looking for 6. So it gets very messy, all these numbers, but here I can track the instrument number with this this number here. So 5 was the instrument we use for the arpeggios, and 6 is for that high pitch stuff. So I'm just gonna use that as a reference. 0 0, and then we're looking for A. That's another. Just dampen all these notes. And there's obviously other ways to do all of this. It's 6. It's a matter of really preference as to what effect you use. And some people are more familiar with some effects than others, you know, but let me just focus on this. C 1 0. It's dampened already, and C 1 0, and Okay. So we got a pattern here, but how long have we been streaming for? You can see. Let me just check when we started. It's been an hour and a half at least, and this is what we got. One pattern, just whatever it is, 8 bars, something like that. Yeah, so as you can see, it takes a lot of time. Anyway, we'll see if we can craft a tiny little melody or something like that in here. We can use the same sample just for the sake of just being different and having something different we load. It's going to be a square wave again. I'm just trying to keep it chiptune in a way. Programmer 021, hello. Disk up, we load square 5. You can see all these, let me just... Slightly different. So if you use them that way, you can actually get some modulation, FM kind of modulation going on. But yeah, it's not native in that tracker anyway. So just bear with me. No. You know what we should do is save this module as well. Save stream 1. There you go. Save module. Modules, save module. Actually, let me just for the spec, and there you go, Enigma. That's a very popular mod on the Amiga that should bring back memories. Man, that gives me goosebumps. Anyway. This couple was the stream 1. That just sounds terrible in comparison, but it's a different type of mod. What they used there was a lot of well, it's samples is what I'm using, but I'm trying to make something chiptune as opposed to a full-fledged composition. But that Enigma, what was the other one by Matronix Tip? The I think I have it here. Overload. That's it. That was another seriously cool one. Whiskey. Something really cool in the lead being used here. We'll see in a minute. So that lead uses those really cool echo effects, which let me just... It uses those echo effects by using So C is the volume stuff. So it uses really attenuated, dampened kind of volume on different notes. So the main note here is an F, but it uses those like C, C, back to an F, very low, another C, and back to a full volume G sharp. What it does, it just creates just extra notes in the background that are not, that sounds like echoes, but they're not echoes of the initial F note. Really clever. Super clever, I love it. This was another popular tune. Anyway, that's not what we're doing here. That's somebody else's music, and somebody much more talented than I am. Let me just get this back. So what we're looking for is a just small melody for our track. Not that. Something like that. Not that. We're gonna use actually slides and things like that. Here I'm just setting the just the notes down so I have a reference. There you go. I'm whistling again. Should have this an octave higher, actually. Doesn't sound right at the yeah. Let's do this. We can transpose, actually there you go, edit. We can actually octave up on this whole track. Oops, sorry. Programmer 2, can you make triplets? Yeah, actually, Mikey has you covered there. Yes, you can, but then you have to plan your track from the start. You have to plan that that your track will have triplets, and then And then you need to just alter you can alter this, either the speed at each step of individual notes, or I think in Octamed, I'm not sure if it's in Protracker, but you could actually just set a little triplety kind of effect. It's not easy. There's nothing easy about it. Yeah, like Mike said, it's a pain. It's technically possible. Whether you want to put yourself through that for the sake of having triplets, probably not. But it's it's possible. Yeah. What am I doing here? Edit. Where's the edit button here? Yeah. Okay. We'll have something like that. Is there a swing option? So yeah, you can technically have a swing sort of feel, but you need to. You remember that? I don't know if you watched from the beginning. So I'm just going to show you that F command here that sets the speed for that tempo. Little kind of complicated. You set the tempo and then the speed for that tempo. It's kind of awkward, but so if you alternate between, like, let's just say for the sake of argument, F4 and F5 or F4 and F3, just one up, one down, you can have that sort of swingy, shuffly effect. So yes, you can do that, but then you need to have a track reserved for just that effect. And as you can see, I have a lot of effects on most of these tracks, yet this one I need to edit yet for expression. On the drum section here, I don't have any effects yet, but I probably will have at some point. So you'll need to find an empty space at every little step to just change the speed. And that'll give you that sort of shuffle swing kind of pattern feel. But it gets tricky. It's a lot of editing, but it's possible, yeah. But like Mike said, it's things like that. It's a pain. You know, these are very, very archaic sort of tools. It allowed for some form of expression, but as far as fine tuning composition like that, it's possible. Nothing is impossible, really. It just takes a lot of work, extra work. How does it compare to FamiTracker? It's essentially similar, you know. It's just it's probably a bit more versatile than the FamiTracker, because here, in this case, you're using exclusively samples, so one track is not just tied to a certain waveform. And you can, as I said, you know, here in the bass, I have my my snare as well, and in this track I have extra. Could be any instrument that I add in there. So one track isn't tied to a waveform specifically. So it's probably a bit more flexible in that sense. However, the editing, especially on a PC version, I'm using a PC version here, the editing is a lot less flexible, and that's a polite way to put it. But it's still, you know, I'm very fond of Protracker and that old Amiga type of editing. What was I doing here? Do. Since I'm using the chords to do the same stuff, I'm just going to use the melody and do the same stuff as the chords. And then as you play the pattern twice, we can use track 1, 2, and 3, and then change the melody here. Again, it's not as flexible as FamiTracker, so I need to copy an entire pattern and have a duplicate copy of the tracks. I can't just reuse individual tracks like that. FamiTracker is a lot more flexible in that sense as far as editing goes. Not that I have a great experience with FamiTracker, but I have some. I've done a few, just played with it a bit, and like that you reuse a lot more than you can in Protracker. There you go. So we got a little melody thing going on. Here, instead of just going straight into that C, I'm gonna come from a G and slide up to do. So we're gonna use. I think it's, what is it? What's the full note value for a slide? Is it? It's C or something like that, isn't it? So what's twice C? What's twice C? It's 18, isn't it? Oh God. Oh God. What's that? 1. So the slide up is 118. There you go. And then we can use. Actually, let's just finish this. So we want a little bit more expression. So we're gonna fade this, or just slide this down by. What's going on here? Oh, I'm editing over there. So we're sliding back down into the next note, in this case. So it just gives a little bit more expression in that thing, and then we're gonna dampen here some of these notes. So A again. It seems to be a nice. It just gives that little staccato feel. And we're gonna slide down again here. It's like almost like a guitar, you know, when they slide the string. You know, when they're playing the next note, but they're just sliding their fingers across the fretboard. And this kind of editing just gives us a bit more expression than just plain notes, and it just that's what makes chiptune. It just it gives it that just I don't know, full expressive feel, but it's just most of it is editing like that. And then I even added, let's just say here, we want to have just a little bit of vibrato going on, and what was it? It was 4. Let me just use a vibrato here. Do you know what? I think the first note is vibrato up or down. The second one is down up. So let's just use a random value here. See if that fits. Ooh, it's quite rich. You kind of want to use the same value for proper vibrato, kind of guitar-y sort of vibrato. That's not enough. So what we can do here is alternate the 2 and the 1s. No. We'll try this. 3. No. That just sounds terrible. Okay, That's why you kind of want the same value for up and down, unless you're looking for a specific effect. But for just pure vibrato, and then to prevent that feeling of things being detuned, I'd like to slide down. My voice is too low for the stream. Yeah, well, my voice is low anyway, but yeah, let me just check. Okay, yeah, my my volume is max here. Hold on. Is this any better? There you go. Yeah, I'm not happy with that. The problem is I can hear my voice back, but never mind. So here we need something just nice and choppy. And then we'll just slide it down 6 and cut it off altogether. We can do here something, it's just we just slide it up a tiny bit. It needs a, what is it, a C? No, that wasn't even close. You can see how things just tell you what, we'll leave it. Actually 118, we had it from the, see, I'm just for the sake, oh come on, for the sake of getting this right, for this stream I'm gonna slide from it G and 118. No, I don't like it. El Spectator, so this is a good place to use your portamento if you want to do slides to land directly on a particular note. Good point. You know what? I haven't used those in a while, and I could be at this for hours. But yeah, my moments go this. How are you, dude? This looks annoying to use. You know, I can't disagree with you. It is cumbersome. It is frustrating, and but that's the way we had to make music back in the 90s, with no choice. This is what chiptune was. You know, how we had to use our tools, and with no choice, essentially. But yeah, it is annoying. It is annoying. I won't deny it. Not annoying. It's frustrating. It's kind of cool to use again, if I'm honest though. But yeah, it can be frustrating, and I can understand why not everybody would be interested in so that ending isn't just not right. But you get the idea. That was it. Yeah, Mad Ricardo. Yeah, this is how it was made back on the Amiga. Not just the Amiga, any 8-bit computer or 16-bit computer. That's you know, and this was actually a great tool to use. This was an upgrade from having to program the stuff, or having to use sort of sheet based type of music. Yeah, this tool, when it came out, I remember just being amazed, because from the Amiga, the MSX days that I had. Let me just switch here. Just yeah, from the MSX stuff that I had, this was clearly an upgrade. Can I use a Trust webcam here? There you go. This was clearly an upgrade from having to program the stuff directly, you know. And I remember when the first sound tracker came out, I was like, oh my god, this opened so many doors. And indeed, it did, you know. I discovered Protracker from just watching demos and wondering. I asked a couple of friends how, you know, what softwares they used to do the musics, and they didn't know. And then I remember writing to a magazine, and they said, you know, this is Soundtracker, that's what they use. So I found a copy of Soundtracker and started using that, and then discovered Protracker, and then discovered Octamed. But they're all iteration of the same type of tool, and it's seriously frustrating. You get used to it. It's like every tool. You just get used to it, and it's just a matter of you know, persevering and just getting familiar with the tool. But I haven't used this in at least 25 years. So yeah, it's right now I'm struggling a little bit. Did I just delete stuff here? I want to do one last thing. Just let me switch back here. Cut off this camera. So you can hear the melody here, and very often what they'll have in those type of shootings is a lot of echoey sort of feel. So we can sort of simulate that by having. Well, in this case, we don't have a lot of space, but here we have empty space, and we have empty space here. We can use a sort of echo. So we can use. You can hear it. Here is probably not the best place for it. I'm just going to use. So we're going to use the volume and just maybe have it at 10. Yeah, I don't have a ton of space. I'm just going to fill this thing. So here we've got our note, and I'm going to have an echo that is spaced, you know, to just 2 notes down, something like that. So I'm going to copy the same notes from here, but just 2 notes down. I think C20 is probably a good one. It'll give us a little bit of echo. So here, I don't have a note 2 notes up, but I'm just going to copy this one because it should be sustaining for that long. You know, you have the slide down here, so it's not overly finished. So it's a D3. Here's a good spot to have another a little bit of echo. See. As you can see, it's about using the space you have. Just bear with me, folks. Oh, I completely. I used 10 volume. I should be using 20 really, and I use that in a few places. But you can hear it just adds that little bit of echo with whatever space is left, which is not much. So we got a full pattern here. Just going to read a few comments here. Sorry. Looks annoying. Yeah, there was a Mad Moments Go. Yeah, this was how it was made, and yeah, it sounds great though. Thank you very much. I got it. I knew what you meant. It is confusing and frustrating to use. Claudia Pucci, go on Banjo. We're liking what you're doing. Also, if you don't remember how to use a, if you don't remember how to use a tracker like myself, okay. Analog X64, very cool. I used Protracker on my Amiga back in the days. Yeah, what a great tool this was. I was just saying earlier on, it was just fantastic when this came out. It was just it opened so many windows and so many options and opportunities. Mad Moments Go. I remember using a music program called Quartet. I'm not familiar with that. I'll look that up. So. Right now, it's just playing the same pattern again and again and again and again and again and again. So what we want to do is just add a pattern here. It's simple as that. We're just going to go here and add pattern 1. Actually, no. Length is 2 patterns. We need to increase the length. And pattern 1 is empty. So what we want to do is use pattern 0. Well, on it's kind of hard to explain. Edit up, pause edition. So there you go. So we're gonna pattern list here. So position 0 use pattern 0. Position 1 use pattern 1. Technically, we could play pattern 1, pattern 0. Sorry, twice, and then increase. There you go. Add pattern 2 and play position 2, which is 3, even more confusing, but play pattern 1, which is empty right now. But it's not what I want to do right now. I want to edit position 1 and put pattern 1, which is going to be a copy of pattern 0 for track 1, 2 and 3, or 0, 1 and 2. So we're going to copy these tracks. And this is where I think it's Shift F4. Here we go. Shift. No. Yeah. Okay. So we're in pattern. Pattern. Shift F4, and we're going pattern 1. And if I play Shift F5, there you go. Whew. Sweated a bit here. The problem is there's no undo a button, so if you mess up for good, which actually reminds me that I should probably be saving right now. That's Fiona just passing. Okay. Then I'm gonna take this Shift F4 and go to pattern. Shift F5, there you go. And go here and Shift F4. Shift F5, no. Oh. Shift F4. Interesting, because I by mistake I deleted this snare here, and it actually sounds cool. It just adds that sort of offbeat type of feel. See what's happening here is I'm playing. Get the arrow here. It's gonna shift. So here I'm gonna copy the same pattern, the same melody, but just gonna change it slightly. So here we're gonna go copy F4 and copy F5. What have I done? Didn't copy anything. Oh, that just copied the effects. Pressed the wrong button. Shift F4. I think it's Control. There you go. And we're just gonna slide it up. Doo-doo. I wish there was a copy and paste in this. I wish there was a proper copy and paste with the mouse that you could edit, but it just it's old school all the way. So here we're just gonna delete everything here. And again, there might be a quicker way to do all this. I'm just a bit rusty on the interface. No, 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 no. Mikey, yeah, OpenMPT is a pretty good modern one. Yes, absolutely, I agree. I've used OpenMPT before to actually remaster my old Protracker and Med stuff, Octamed and Med stuff into PC. It's much more flexible, much easier to use, but there's something charming about using a sound tracker or Protracker. Yeah, if somebody wanted to get into tracker stuff, I'd recommend OpenMPT. It's a very, very good modern alternative to stuff like that. Doo-doo-doo. I don't have a higher octave. So here I've reached the highest octave I can on this one. So the only way I could get a higher note than that is actually go into the sampler option and speed up this sample, just get a higher sampling rate. But there's no easy option to. I've only got 3 octaves essentially. And where's the exit here? So I could actually just create a new instrument and have it just twice as high. In this case, I'm limited, so I'm just gonna revert back to the lower octave. What have I done? No. probably nothing wrong with that. It's just I went to. There's no reason to speed up stuff like that. Okay, a bit more expression here. Rikaku, hi there. Yeah, hi there. Mikey, only having 4 channels can inspire more creativity. I agree. I think having too many options can lead to what did they call it? Analysis paralysis. So and if you have just too many choices, it's hard to make a choice. If you don't have that many and your options are limited, it just forces you to work around the rules and work outside the box in a way. Although I hate using the expression, but that's what it is. It's just you have to think outside the confine of what's standardly accepted, and force yourself to use extra tracks, empty space, and then you see all this empty space here, this extra stuff. We could technically use that as well for effects, for added stuff. We've only used really less than half the available space here. If you look at the track, so it's there's still plenty scope for change and like a slide here. I still get confused with that actually we'll use a few edit button, because this sample is looped. The only way I can switch them off is by pressing the spacebar, which is the edit mode. See that arrow going blue? That's your edit mode. So if I press a sample, if I press the spacebar, it goes to edit mode. But then if I forget, it edits and just overwrites. So I just get confused between the two. So there you go. What we have is a we should use a full slide here. Wait what is that sound? It's here. Got an extra little nasty artifact, which is probably because I got over eager and there you go. So we got 2 patterns, just 2 pattern progression. We've actually reused the track, the track 1, 2, and 3 from the first pattern, and changed the melody, copied the melody line, just added some changes. I'm just gonna maybe just add a bit of a snare fill on this to do. So there you go. Maybe a roll. And increase the volume from 2, 3. Have kind of that. There you go. So if we play the whole pattern, this is pattern 1 that we got earlier. So it's a 2 pattern progression, and actually edit past ed. We don't need this, so I think there you go. And pretty much what you have here is bar, you know, the full progression and extra patterns and that kind of stuff. Ideally, you'd want what at least 4, 6, maybe 8 patterns, just going and then swapping them and arranging them together. But this is what those kind of demo trainer and cheat code kind of, you know, chiptune stuff on the Amiga were like, you know. That's how much time it took to make them. We've taken 2.5 hours just to make those 2 patterns. Mind you, I was very rusty and I'm not an expert on this, but this is how long it takes, you know, to make music on a tracker. There's nothing easy about it. Very, very time consuming. And somehow though, you can't get that with modern DAW. You know, it's just modern sound editing softwares. You need a tracker to get that sort of render. So you play that twice, and maybe here you have an extra, you know, pattern where it goes into half beats, you know, something like that. That just adds a bit of just change. Or maybe you go into the relative minor, which is we're in C, so it would be the A. Play those minor chords for a while and just go back to that upbeat sort of tempo. And things like that. But there you go. Yeah, that's the progress. Maybe I could go on. Will I keep going? How do you feel about it? Will I just keep going? I don't mind, honestly. I'm just kind of on a roll here. I just need to refill my drink, but that's other than that, I can keep going. Or maybe I could just revert back to a sort of Q&A-ish type of stream. Let me know. I'm just going to get another drink here, so bear with me. Jess Smith, what's your thoughts on renoise? I don't know what renoise is. Maybe you can enlighten me there. Bear with me. I'm back in 5. Sorry, folks, I'm back. Mikey, press 1 for infinite lives. This is what it sounds like, isn't it? Just extra lives, infinite lives, 9,000 gold. Okay. Half tempo, relative minor. Let's go for it. Actually, we need a position edit, so we'll need. I'm just going to repeat those patterns twice. So pattern 1 is there you go, and again that was Fiona in the background, and insert, no, delete. Interesting, inserts between here and the last one, so okay, whatever. And then here we want pattern 2. So pattern 2, there's nothing here. Whew. Off topic, I know, but would you consider covering some tunes from Hellfire on Mega Drive? Yes. It's not that I would consider it, it's in my list. I've said before I don't do or take requests, but if it's in my list, I'll say that it is. But yeah, Hellfire, what is it? Which one is it? Hellfire, let me just check. In fact, I have many tunes from Hellfire in my list, but my list is so many years long. But the first one I want to do, yeah, actually it's pretty up in the list. I have a few more I want to do, but Hellfire is there this year, for sure. Yeah. Anyway, God, my voice is starting to strain. It's just my voice drops in bass as we go. The more I talk, I don't have a very good voice for talking for long periods, and it just drops. Whiskey helps though. Okay, let's keep going. So we want to have here just half beat patterns. I like to use that as a click track, so we're gonna do that. Okay. So instead of having boom, psh, boom, psh, we're gonna have that half speed, boom, psh, boom, psh, and just long kind of drawn basses. Anyway. This is why my math isn't great. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I prefer this sound, so we're gonna use D sharp here. And as you can see, there's no templates, there's no options to save anything, like there's no presets or anything like that. It's just every time you need to reinvent the wheel. Okay. No. The Adrian Smith, the toffee whiskey they have in Edinburgh Castle would help your voice a lot right now. Maybe, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm here in Kinvara in Ireland. What's happening here? 2, 4. In fact, I'd like to have a bit of echo, so I'm gonna use the drum sample here and repeat the drum sample and reduce the sound by half. That might be a bit too much, but I want to see what it sounds like. To have just that sort of big echoey kind of snare. Yeah, that's just too much, way too much. Still way too much. Yeah, that's perfect. So C7. So every time there's a snare, I'm gonna just repeat that here. Have the sound at C7. And you don't really notice the hi-hat missing really because you're focused on the echo. And that's really what the essence of tracking and where the trick is using trackers. It's just that sort of a smoke and mirrors type of feel. And that's how some very, very clever composers were able to just squeeze so many layers out of 4 tracks by just going to what was essential for the ear. You know, one of the perfect example I give is the intro tune of Dune on the Amiga, specifically on the Amiga, because you still have 4 tracks. It's not one of those kind of clever coding stuff that Chris Julesberg did or many others did, Paul van der Valke or that kind of stuff, where they were able to use more tracks than the Amiga was supposed to handle. This was still a 4-track piece where they sort of cut off some of the notes that your brain would register and just still hear even though they weren't playing anymore, and your brain would just fill the gaps, and instead they'll fill that space with other elements that he kept adding layers to the track. It was just so very, very clever and so very well done on the Amiga. Anyway. So let's not lose track of what our So we were on the square bass. So relative minor should be A to C. Let me just strum a few things here. Okay. Just a quick reference. I just want to cut all volume here. I just want to check something. My moments go. Hope you share this when when you're finished. Yeah, I will. So I will re-upload the entire video onto the Motherfuckers podcast channel, which I'll probably rename to like BG Ollie Live or something like that, because it's not a podcast anymore, but it's all the live stuff I put on that channel. And then the tune itself, I mean, yeah, I can make it available on Bandcamp if you want. It's not finished. It was just an example of stuff you can do, but maybe I can flesh it out even more and finish it at some point. As soon as it's finished, yeah, I'll upload it on Bandcamp and Spotify and all these places. Instant Show, see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. A C inserted here. I was wondering where my cursor was. Just make sure all the sound goes here. I don't know if it'll fit or if it's but sure, we'll try that. We'll see what the break sounds like. So here we need a cleaner. I'm actually not in the same mode anymore. this is where you need to take a break, because I'm sort of just getting tired here. My ears are getting tired essentially, so I'm just not hearing things right anymore. But yeah, I'm going into the relative minor, and I'll resolve back into the C chord, going back into the C. So this will go. Something like that. Anyway, you get the idea. This is about building patterns and chord changes and progressions and things like that. I am actually just getting really tired and fading out, just from focusing on all this. And after a while, when you compose for a while, especially now, it's actually approaching close to 3 hours. What is it? Or more than that, yeah. Yeah, close to 3 hours. It's good to take a break and just go back to your arrangement, with fresh ears. So I'm gonna end this now, folks. Let me just switch cameras. There you go. Guys, folks, thank you for everyone who's joined in. Thank you very much. Thanks for the support. Thanks for following the channel, and thanks for just being curious. And hopefully, you'll get to work on your own stuff. Like, trackers are fun. They're a bit fiddly. They take some getting used to, but once you understand some of the stuff, there's actually, you can do quite a lot with the and these would be similar to a lot of trackers. The function might change, as in the number or the letter might change, but it's similar. Once you understand the dampen, volume control C, dampen is a slide up and down. So slide up is 1, slide down is 2, or is it the other way around? No, that's it. And the chord stuff, which is I forgot. It's 0 actually. It's 0, and 37 is a minor chord, 47 is a major chord. That's really technically all you need to do to start, arranging your chiptune and just getting stuff that sound like that, or better, probably, hopefully better. I'm not sure about the transition at all, but that's what composing is about. You make mistakes, you change, you keep it, or you make it fit, or you discard it altogether. But there you go. I'll do more, and I don't know if you're interested in that kind of stuff. I'd love to do more. Maybe just whenever I'm making stuff, just find a way to stream it somehow. It'll be interesting. Pat the cat for us, I will do. There you go. Cat patting going on. Yeah, stay tuned. I'll do more. I'll probably do Q&As sometime in the next few weeks, but I want to do more on the channel in general this year. You've probably seen all the instrument stuff. I want to do that. I have a video coming about all my setup. I have more covers coming, of course. I have more composition coming. Let me see. Can I share some of it with you? Can you hear that? Let me know. But this is not finished. It's kind of a preview. Very, very much EDM, sort of Deadmau5 inspired. It's going to be a tribute to Horizon Zero Dawn. Let me know if you can hear it, by the way, because otherwise I'm just talking over myself. And can you hear it? that's just a rough draft since still, but yeah, that's, I have stuff like that to finish, so I might see if I can stream that as well, just me finishing that. So that's all done with it, just more modern DAW, and then I want to do a proper video for it. Literally, it's a tribute to Horizon Zero Dawn. You might not be hearing it, but I am, and yeah, that's what it felt like for me. So there you go. But folks, I'm gonna turn this off. Thank you, everybody who's joined in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel and watching the videos. Again, it's I wouldn't be. I probably still would be making music, but probably wouldn't be pursuing this YouTube stuff if it wasn't for the following I'm getting. So thank you very much. See you soon, and I'm gonna have to find a way to end the stream. I'm not sure where the button is. Oh, there it is, folks. See you soon. Bye bye.